Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sunday, the 19th of February, African Nazarene University, Game 2 of the KBF Premier League Finals. First game up is KPA men versus Strathmore Blades men in Game 2 of the series. This is Bosire Bogonko with
Abel's son.
Thank you, Abel. So, Abel, yesterday we had a very interesting game one, this particular game. KPA led sometime in the game, but along the way, Strathmore got its on stride and came ahead, and there was about 6 changes and about 7 times that each team tied up the game. What do you think made Strathmore lose the game?
Well, first and foremost, yesterday the stat that stood out were the free throws. With the free throws, Strathmore missed too many free throws, especially down the stretch when they missed around 5 free throws out of the 6 that they attempted. Yet the game was a 1-point game, and they had a chance to actually come up and win that game. So Strathmore has to work for a better free throw shooting day today, Strathmore, to be able to win, to stay in this game.
So are you suggesting that Strathmore actually lost the game rather than KPA winning the game?
Yes, absolutely, because KPA had a very, very bad game yesterday, which I don't expect will happen again today for Strathmore. And Strathmore had the upper hand yesterday and a chance to actually win that game. But the free throws and careless play at some particular moments cost them the game yesterday.
Oh, excellent. But from today's lineup, I can see George Okoth is not playing. Do you think that will affect Strathmore Blades' game plan?
Yes, it did, and it's rather surprising that George Okoth is not in the lineup. They've opted for Daryl on the lineup. He's a young player, he's athletic, but I don't think he has the same kind of experience as George Okoth. So unless George is injured, I don't really understand what is on the mind of Coach Tony Cheng.
So what do you think Tony Cheng needs to do today to be able to win the ball game?
Well, Tony Cheng must ensure that the game still has a lot of space and they use a lot of runs really early in the game, because the transition game really gave a problem to KPA. The KPA team looks deep, but in reality, after yesterday's game, you could realize that once they go down into their bench, it's not really as solid as one would anticipate on paper. And so by playing a fast running game, they're able to draw fouls, because Strathmore has equally matched 7 to 8 players, very athletic, and if they take it to KPA, they're able to draw fouls. KPA has a handful of big men that can actually keep up with the pace of Strathmore.
Well, let's go to the defending champions. KPA are the defending champions for men, and yesterday we noted, apart from their sloppy play, they only scored 1 3-point shot the whole game. What do I say about our basketball?
Well, that just shows how our men's basketball especially is oriented towards using physicality, taking the ball to the rack, trying to draw fouls. What is ironical about that is that if you want to adopt such a style of basketball, then you got to work excessively on your players' free throw shooting. So it's kind of contradictory, because we teach players to just go to the hoop and we don't teach them how to score those free throws. So hence we're just squandering most of our offenses by just going out there, drawing fouls, feeling happy that we've done that. So, but I don't expect KPA to miss that much today. The reality of the matter is that in KPA's lineup, they only have Victor Busiro who can shoot threes, Tobias Odumbe, and occasionally Victor Odendo can shoot 3 points. Most of the time, none of their players can actually shoot the 3 ball.
Yeah.
They're only penetrating players. They shoot mid-range jump shots. So as you can see now, these starting lineups are there. It's the same. Coach Tony Cheng has started basically the same lineup with Raymond Kimathi, Shinton Ochieng, Emmanuel Soja, Fidel Okoth, and Brian Onyango. On the KPA side, they're starting with the same lineup as yesterday at the point guard and shooting guard. The only one change that they have is at the power forward, where Martin Kitongo comes in to replace Mayot Frank that started the game yesterday.
I can't hear you. Yeah.
So today we expect a more exciting basketball game from both teams. Hoping that KPA has already shaken off that first game out of their legs. Having that KPA doesn't practice enough, we can assume that their first game was a practice session, and that in today's game we shall see a fresher KPA, much more crisp KPA and champion, and maybe have them have a dominating game and be able to win this season. But one of the main things that I see here with series, if KPA doesn't kill this game early, they will have a hard time with the lads because the young boys are going to be ready to play against them and most likely can snatch a win if they don't take an early lead as KPA. So what are your thoughts on that? I believe that KPA should dominate the game early if they want to have a chance to really win this game today.
I agree with you, Abel. I think it's critical that the defending champions stamp the authority bright and early in the game. You know, you cannot give the underdog a chance to feel like they've got an opportunity to win the ball game. So therefore, when you come out at the tip-off, you need to ensure that your style of play is imposed on the game and you control the proceedings of the game. You snuff out any life from the underdog, because once you give an underdog an opportunity to be able to come and beat you, they take the opportunity and the crowd will go behind them and they get that motivation and they'll be propped up to play the game of their lives.
Yes, indeed. Everybody loves an underdog. So if the champion doesn't show that he's a champion, he shows championship character, the crowd will definitely sway and go towards the underdog. This game is going to be on the way. Coach Tony Ochen decided to make a few changes in his lineup by adding Darrow and Amos Anuke today. Let us see if those two players can bring in some fresh blood. Maybe there's something that they worked on in these particular players can help make a difference. So KPA team from Mombasa is dressed in blue, in their natural blue colors, and Strathmore University has come today in the white and blue uniform to play this game. The referees today are Eric Ochieng, Joseph Amoko. As this game goes on the way, you have to have in mind that KPA won game 1 yesterday, 51-50, in a tightly played game. Won the game 51-52. We can see, sorry ladies and gentlemen, there was an error in our graphics. The starting lineup for KPA has a slight difference with Victor Busire starting at the point guard, Victor Dendo, Evans Leting, Martin Kitonga, and Ariel Ukao. That's the lineup for KPA, which is different from the lineup they had yesterday. Strathmore University has gone with the same lineup that they had yesterday, with Emmanuel Soja, Peter Shilton, Sammy Mogoka, Fidel, and Brian Onyango. So jump ball is between Brian Onyango, number 21. He has been outstanding player, one of the most outstanding players in this whole playoffs, dominating the board, both offensively and defensively. And the jump ball is won by Strathmore University as Samuel Mogoka controls the play from the beginning. Takes an ill-advised jump shot. I don't think that was the best option for him. I believe Samuel Mogoka should have just tried to move the ball early in the game. You cannot shoot the ball immediately you get into a basketball game because your body isn't yet ready for such action. KPA comes and sets up their offense. You can see there, but Shilton with a good steal. This game is starting on a low tone. I believe both teams are going to observe each other once more as the game starts and see what each team has to offer. We're hoping today for a higher scoring game than yesterday's basketball game between both teams. As Samuel Mogoka takes a very good drive once more and draws first blood. 2-0 for Strathmore University. 2-0 for Strathmore University. KPA seems to be running an offense with their two bigs staying below as Strathmore is playing a 1-2-2 zone defense where they're basically congesting the paint and allowing and daring KPA to take jump shots, which they're not. As Strathmore runs on the transition, turnover. Good steal by Victor Busire. I think KPA should try to shoot the ball if they want to have a real chance to make easy baskets because Strathmore's system and Strathmore's approach to this game with Siri is Strathmore is basically playing a 1-2-2 zone congesting the paint and daring KPA to shoot. I think KPA should look for shooters and try to open their game by taking jump shots from outside.
That's correct, but I think also to break the 1-2 zone, you have to be able to have slashers. When you have slashers, then you see how the zone reacts to people cutting across the paint. And as a result, you can be able to now dictate the pace on how to set up your three-point shooters to shoot the ball.
Yes, indeed. So right now they're playing static with the two post players for KPA, Martin and Ariel Okal staying on the baseline, which doesn't give them any real advantage in regards to how to open the space.
That's correct. And maybe at this juncture, Abel, I would like to give a highlight to the sponsors of this event, Enlightened Sports and Events Network, who have sponsored the finals, all the finals to the tune of 1 million shillings. And this covers things like referees, fees, and logistics for officials, back and forth from game venue, payment for the venue, and also prizes for the winning teams.
That's an excellent thing because we're in need of sponsors, and we thank ESEN for what they're doing, for allowing us to cover these games, which is one of the rare things that has happened in this league. So as you watch Ariel Okal that takes that ball on that long pass, then look, that's the 3 ball we're talking about. He's going to drop it. Unfortunately, our game starts again with the men not making the 3-point shot. It's rather unfortunate, and it's amazing that at the Premier League we are not making enough 3-point jump shots. I don't know what could be the reason for that.
I think it's a case of not preparing to take the 3-point shots. I don't think the teams put out enough effort in training time to work on their jump shots. Jump shots it's not like making a layup. Making a layup, you can forego making layups in practice and still somehow be able to make a layup. But the jump shot, even from warm-up of the game, you need to be able to put up 50 to 100 shots, like we talked about earlier before the game, before you can be able to get that stroke coming.
Okay, as we can see here, Simon Mogoka, who has shot one more time, that's his 0 for 2 right now. He's being aggressive early in the game, which is very good. If your point guard is aggressive, it forces the other team's defense to actually react, and hence allowing him passing lanes. So I think it's a good system as Victor blocks Shilton. That was a lazy shot, Shilton. You could not take a shot right in front of him. KPA hasn't scored in the first 3 minutes of this game. The scores are 4-0 with 6:49 to go, and Strathmore is up. Strathmore plays up.
It's unfortunate. From the couple of minutes I watched the game, KPA do not look like they have a good strategy for offense. It's more of, as we call it in the local parlance, kaende. They're just riding up and down the floor like headless chicken and trying miraculously to put the ball up and expect it going.
Exactly. KPA seems to be playing with an over-reliance on their individual skills. So they're hoping that somebody, as Victor Dendo makes the first 3 of this game, 4-3 of the scores, Strathmore lead with 6:26 to go. Well, KPA is relying on the individual brilliance of some of their players, which might be their downfall.
That's correct, Abel. And actually, I think Strathmore need to force them into that situation where they're trying to play one-on-one basketball, because Strathmore team is also good on one-on-one defense, and therefore, if KPA that's the only way of playing, they need to just force them into that situation of playing one-on-one basketball.
Yes, indeed. If they force them to do that, because the kids, Strathmore being a younger team, they will prevail in such a basketball game when you play one-on-one and you play direct basketball, opposed to when the ball moves a lot and there are a lot of schemes involved, because then experience matters a lot in terms of reading how the team moves the ball, how the players move without the basketball. So that's what Strathmore should actually be provoking KPA to do, to insist on their one-on-one basketball, and hopefully they know that pound for pound they can match up with them. As ever, the team misses second free throw.
And it's so amazing, Abel. You saw in the free throw sequence that Evans Letting just took in a few seconds ago. The first free throw he took, he had set his feet, he had his motion going, and he scored the free throw easily. The second one, the moment the ball left the fingertips, he had already started backpedaling. And that, I think, is a very big problem in terms of consistency when you take a jump shot or you take a free throw or whatever it is, because it affects our players very much.
Yes, it does. Yes, indeed it does, because you have to finish a shot, and hence he didn't finish his jump shot, and he was already gone. Martin Kitonga with a rare jump shot attempt. He's usually a slasher. Victor Dender with that turnover there. I think he was trying to complicate the game. I think KPA should also be patient. just move the ball, not force the action too quickly. Both teams are trying to score too early, and yet one more time, there's no 24-second shot clock in these games, hence they don't have any need to actually rush the play. As you see Fidel with his jump shot, misses that. I think if I'm the KPA coach, I'm okay with Fidel taking that jump shot. What do you think?
Evans I think has been a bit aggressive on this particular instance. He has attacked the pin quite a number of times, and he could be a very big factor in this particular game, because when you've got somebody who can be able to attack his defender on the dribble, it creates a lot of matchup problems on the rotation, and especially on help defense.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that will be key. If ever the team can continue doing that, it might become a problem to the team. As you see, Brian Oyango drawing the first foul on Ariel Okal on that jump shot. He's going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots. KPA leads 6-4 with 4:50 to go in the first quarter of this second game of the KBF National Finals.
And once again, it's looking like it's going to be another low-scoring affair, because you remember yesterday, game 1, at the end of first quarter, it was 11-10, a score like that, and we had 6-4 with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go. It essentially means, at the same rate at which they are missing baskets, we'll end up with a score of about 12-13 points in each quarter.
Yes, I think, which is rather unfortunate, having that these two teams, as you mentioned yesterday, are going to go for the regional tournament and represent the country against teams that are crisp. I think one of the things that needs to be addressed by all the coaches, each team, is their shooting. They need to work more on shooting, focus less on running and the fitness of their players, and then at least ensure that they have players that can be offensive threats. I see Victor Bosile taking the 3, that rattles in and out. That was unfortunate. That was a good shot that he took right there, but he missed that shot. You see a careless pass by Emmanuel Soja, that leads to a turnover. As you can see, Everson keeps having that same jump shot where he's leaving before the shot has even reached. I don't know whether it's an art that he has perfected, or it's a style, or is it what he watches on the NBA. But unfortunately, you need to complete the jump shot before you move. Even Steph Curry that moves usually lands first and then moves.
Exactly. I think the issue is his jitteriness. He's a bit jittery. You can see from the way he catches the ball, the way he's hyperactive, as a matter of fact, if I can use that word. But once upon a time, Abel, we used to say that this kind of game where there's so much energy being expected but no results is akin to having a power station that has got turbines that are rolling endlessly, but no electricity is being generated.
That's a wild miss there by Victor Odendo from the 3-point line. As Shilton goes on coast to coast, misses the basket but draws the foul. He has 2 free throws. And yes, indeed, as you're saying, these two teams, it's the men's final this year is not really living up to the expectation that most of the fans had here. Matter of fact, the ladies' game, finals game 1 yesterday was pretty much more exciting. We are hoping that this men's game can actually turn around in the second quarter. As we see, Shilton has a better start today. I believe he's been the marksman for Strathmore since this game has started. Score is tied at 7 with 3:56 to go. As Tony makes an early substitution. Yes, that's because Fidel has fouls already, so he needs to go sit out. Let's go sit outside.
Okay.
He brings in Pascal, his veteran big man, who's been with him for all these years. I spoke about, again, Victor just passed over a clean jump shot in a spot where he has already scored. Good play by Danny Devil. Dan with a good basket inside there. He came in yesterday as a spark plug, and you can see Coach Kiki noticed that and put him in early in this game as KPA takes the lead 9-7.
Abel, in the history of Kenyan basketball, we have only had 2 universities make it to the KBF finals. What does that say about our basketball, where universities can actually have the capacity to have teams make it to the finals?
Well, that says a lot about the youth of this country, meaning that the talent is right where it's supposed to be. The 2 universities that have made it, the United States International University, USIU, and Strathmore are universities that have invested in scholarships. So hence we can see that if you invest in the youth, if you give opportunities, because by giving them scholarships, these kids can study and do the sport that they like. It allows these institutions to nurture that talent, and that's why we've had 2 universities get to the finals. In the ladies, we've had USIU ladies win the final twice, win the league twice. So that shows you if we invest more, if other institutions can invest more, if other stakeholders can put more resources into the sport, we can have such amazing results. We can have such surprises coming out of these younger teams because of the fact that, remember this, the energy is before 30. That's where all the energy is. So a 21-year-old up to 25-year-old really has that much energy that you can actually garner, and you can direct it you can send it directly that you actually want to bring out the result that you need.
But don't you think then it also points to another problem where there's no transition between the university level and the so-called club level? Because if the youth were given that opportunity to transition from university to club level, it means there will be university up to 22, 23. Then in their prime year, 23 to 28 or 30, they're actually playing for a club.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You're right about that. And the real issue is because at the club level, there's no real investment, so there's no aspirational for these university students. Once you're done with university, that gave you everything that you needed to succeed. At the club level, where you play for free, you don't have medical covers, you don't have the right venue, etc., and the list keeps going on, you really have no incentive or motivation to play this game. Hence, it's harder for the players to transition from being at the university and wanting to play. You can note the example of several graduates from Strathmore who do not play basketball anymore, and that's because of no motivation. As you can see, substitution. Ongoro comes in for Shilton, as Moses Wanjara comes in for Niki. Exactly, Coach Kiki is picking up from the players that played well yesterday and putting them in early as KPA leads 11-7 with 2:26 to go. But what do you think today about the lads? Do they seem to have the same energy as yesterday? Or?
They don't have the same energy, especially the big men. I think KPA has really worked on their strategy on how to manhandle or manage the big men, because they've not been as dominant as they were yesterday on the boards. But the guards are a bit more aggressive, I would say. They've taken more jump shots, they have tried to attack the paint, they have tried to, get something going on offense.
Okay, yes, indeed. Still a low scoring, it's 11-7 as KPA leads with 2 minutes to go. Victor Bosire launches another 3 and finally connects to the 3-point line. Victor Bosire, when Victor Bosire heats up, he can actually be a very, very dangerous scorer.
Yeah, that's very critical for the offense of KPA. That Victor Bosire gets hot, especially from the 3-point line, especially from transition as you're seeing him going right now. Then there'll be havoc. There'll be havoc for Strathmore.
Yes, indeed, as KPA takes a commanding lead, 16-7, with 1:40 to go in the first quarter. And this is mostly done by the energy of Victor Bosire, who has started the game today, unlike yesterday, has been pushing the game, and Coach Kiki and Coach Michael Pell making the right adjustments in today's game by inserting earlier in the game some of the key players that played well in that final stretch in yesterday's game.
And you can see, because Victor Bosire has gone on a tear, today they have got into 16 points and it's still 1 minute and 40 seconds to go, because they've been more efficient in going on transition. And this time, unlike yesterday, when he went for a layup and he was given a big block, a chase down block, he has ensured that he actually goes up and scores the basket without being fancy or anything like that.
Yes, indeed, that's very critical. So what would you think Coach Tony Ochieng and his assistants would be telling the team right now? What do you think they should do to turn this around?
He needs to be talking about their offense, because that's where they're failing. Actually, KPA has gone almost on a 9-0 run because of their defensive stops on that side. Not because Strathmore's defense is poor, but because Strathmore's offense is poor. So he actually needs to address the issue of offense. And the issue of offense is that the guards are not converting what they have. They need to put offensive pressure by scoring, getting the ball to the post. Then the post can either play one-on-one, or they can tap the ball for the shooters to be able to score the basket.
Yes, indeed. As you noted, the offensive pressure is what is really lacking in this game from Strathmore University. You see, Muraya came in very early today. Another turnover provoked by Victor Bosire as he leads again the transition. And he gets fouled by Brian Onyango. That is an experienced foul because Brian Onyango literally bumped into Victor Bosiri thinking that it was okay to bump as he's moving away, but forgot that in transition, referees are keen on such moves, and if that happens, it shall always be called as a foul. I think today the big men of Strathmore, as you said, are not really. The energy that I can see from them is not the right energy.
It's not.
If I were the coach at this point, I would take both post players out and have a pep talk with them, because the game of basketball is still long. It's 40 minutes. I think right now you should gamble as a coach to shake up your players.
That's correct. His talk should be more motivational than anything else.
Yes, indeed.
I think Mogoko has come back in for Moriah. I think the coach has got a different idea for offense. He needs a little more composure on offense, and he's brought in Sammy Mogoko. And for sure, they go on a simple pick and pop, and they get a basket.
Yes, indeed. So they reduced the score to 69 with 50 seconds to go. Right now in the first quarter, KPA, the defending champions, controlling this game so far. As Dan posts up, trying to play a high-low with Mayoti. Frank taking another drive, scoops it in. 18-9 lead with 30 seconds to go.
I think Samuel Mogoko brings some very good composure to the offense of Strathmore. And it's critical that his coach has to play him longer, especially in today's pivotal game, to give them a chance to score in one basket, or to give one game.
As Tobias Odumbe makes it 29 with 10 seconds, and the students are breaking down at this moment. They'll be very happy to hear the end of this first quarter so they can regroup themselves and prepare themselves for the second quarter. End of first quarter, KPA leads 20-9. Exactly what I was mentioning to you earlier. KPA, the champions, had to come out this way in this second game to at least impose themselves and to send a scare to the students.
That is critical because they're the defending champions. They've also played in the league for a long time. They've got more champions in that team. Strathmore Blades have got very good players, but they have no experience, they have no finals experience, they have no playoff experience, because as we said before, in the last 5-6 years they have lost at the quarterfinal stage. This is the first time they have gone beyond the quarterfinals, and therefore they of course have some jitters and that lack of ability to play with poise and character.
Yes, indeed. What is quite amazing here is to note that a team like Strathmore, they are hard-nosed. They have been down like this a couple of times already in the season. Hopefully they can come back into the game in the second quarter as long as they can compose themselves. Yeah, I believe they need to compose themselves.
That's critical. And that starts from the coach being composed, and the coach's composure is passed on to the players. You see, when the players see a composed coach, not an erratic coach, a coach who's jumping up and down and shouting at the referees and etc., they also pick up that composure. Secondly, Samuel Mogoko has to come into play very critically because one is controlling their offense. Without his ball handling skills, without his intelligence or basketball IQ, it will be impossible for their players to play. Third and most important is that the two post players, like you've said, their demeanor is a bit off. So he actually needs to kind of prop them up with the pep talk.
Yes, indeed, Coach Tony Cheng to prop them up, as you can see the replays here. That was a scoop and a good tip in by Frank, who came running in transition offense. Yeah, as you can see, the drive here. And a big block by Frank one more time. The big fella today has started on a better note than yesterday. He already has a block and he has 4 points in the paint for KPA.
That's correct, and we need that kind of aggression from as many players as possible from the court. So if your guards are not attacking the paint with the dribble or shooting the three, then your big men need to be able to dominate in the paint, by blocking shots and grabbing rebounds and bumping and grinding the other opposing big men.
Yes, indeed. As the start of the second quarter now, as KPA leads 20-9. As you look at this replay, Tobias Odumbe's last basket.
In essence, KPA has scored almost 12 points from transition, basically stopping the offense of Strathmore and just getting in a simple transition, 1-2 passes and it's a layup. Apart from the 2-3 points they have scored, the rest have just been purely on transition.
Yes, indeed, and Strathmore must be more patient on offense and move the basketball. You can see here Coach Tony Cheng has gone back to Cliff Alela. Cliff Alela was instrumental yesterday when he came into the game as Frank muscles himself through the paint again and scores. Beating the scores to 22-9. He's playing tough out there tonight.
Even as you see, Abel, as you see Franklin playing big. What is the importance of having good post players?
It's very important, especially when your big man can actually move on the floor. It's very instrumental as he has a big block that leads to a transition by KPA in the basket of Moses Wanjala to take the lead to 24-9 with 9:20 to go. KPA running wild right now and stabilizing Strathmore. Well, the importance of height is that that's the first time in basketball. As long as you have a big man that can actually move on the floor, you will have an advantage when you play this game. Franklin got a necessary foul. You don't need that, Franklin. You're having a good game right now, big fella. You don't need to foul players.
That's correct.
Because that's going to cost you. And that's what happened yesterday, and that put him out of the game after a good start. So he picks up his first foul on Cliff Alela. As I mentioned to you, Cliff Alela came in because as yesterday, he was one of the catalysts for Strathmore to come back into the game. And Coach Tony Cheng is hoping for the same to happen today.
And Abel, as we're still talking about the big men, who are some of your favorite big men from the NBA in the past or presently?
You have DeMarcus Cousins, and you have Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid from Cameroon. Those are the three big men that really stand out to me in the NBA because they're versatile. They can shoot the ball as much as they can also attack the basket or the dribble, and they can pass the ball very, very well. So those three big men are really incredible. They can play at every spot on the basketball court.
That's excellent. Once upon a time in Kenya, we had some very good big men, the likes of Michael Pell, Big Sam Omole, we had got Big Ben Wanjara. These are players who could be able to shoot the ball around the paint, had good one-on-one skills, and were able to defend their either on help or one-on-one very, very well.
Yes, indeed. Michael Pell used to dance in that paint, and which is what has been lacking in this current league, as we see a shot missed there and a tip-in that was also missed by Fidel. Today, Strathmore doesn't seem to play with the same urgency that they were playing with yesterday, and I think Coach Tony Ocheng should look for some solutions on his bench. For example, Emmanuel Soja has played for so many minutes, but I still don't see what he has actually been doing on the court. He has not been effective on the floor, and the coach has left him here for so long. Why would you think that is happening?
Well, I think it's just because of his experience in terms of the group that he has. He needs to have somebody who is a bit more composed. He's not erratic. He has not caused any mistakes. He hasn't caused any turnovers. He may have missed some shots or some whatever, but he needs some experienced player in the court all the time. It doesn't matter how effective they are. Sometimes it's just a matter of drawing attention. You need somebody to draw attention from the people watching the scoring.
Okay, well, there he goes, another substitution. As Shilton is coming in, he's taking Soja, exactly, because Soja actually needed to take a rest. Now he has two shooters in Peter Shilton and Ongoro. Let us see if that can help open his game, because so far they've had difficulty scoring points. That's what has created this difference. As you see, Cliff Alela trying to go through two players again. He's trying to enter that. As you see, Joseph Ouma has come in for Victor Bushire and immediately has a turnover. His first possession. See the fast break there as Ongoro scores a layup. 24-11. If the lads can get a couple of steals like this, I think they can get back into this game.
It's critical, and they have to take advantage of the fact that the new point guard of the KPA, who is Chivale, has not played and has. That's where they need to attack. That's the guy they need to attack, both on offense and on defense, because I don't think he's ready for this game.
Yes, indeed, and there he goes to the second turnover on the travel. Just like we mentioned, he is not in the same mind space as his teammate. He doesn't have the same momentum right now, so he is causing a lot of trouble. Since he's coming, it's two straight turnovers. If the lads can capitalize on this one, they will be able to get their momentum back most likely and give us a ball game.
And I think, Abel, the situation of Chevalier at this point in time points to very many people or many players, in the sense that many players want to start, but are not ready to come off the bench. So when they don't start, when they come off the bench, they tend to be erratic and they make so many mistakes because they are either mad that they didn't start, or like yesterday he started and he played relatively well. But today he's coming as a sub and he's his mind is not there and he's totally displeased. You can see his demeanor is not right for a championship game.
Yes, indeed. As you speak, Cliff Alela just picked up an offensive foul. He's trying to play over physical, and Moses Wanjala smartly draws a foul from him. And yes, indeed, Joseph Ouma, most likely because of his international experience, feels that he's supposed to be the starting point guard at all times.
Correct. And
hence, when he doesn't start, he feels an issue. But by nature, he's usually had a slight discipline issue. As we see Tobias Odumbe with a deep three-point. This is amazing. Today the game has started with three points already for KPA men, which is beautiful. Bring the score to 27-11. It's a higher scoring game today. As you see, Ongoro, is he going to respond? He misses the shot. As Murayo tries to go for the offensive rebound, but misses that one. Coach Tony Ocheng wants to talk about it, calls for a timeout one more time for his team.
They're in total disarray. At this point in time, Strathmore is in total disarray and they need to just calm down and execute. It's all about execution. They're trying to get into a physical matchup with KPA, and KPA are really bumping them and grinding them. So they just need to pass the ball a little more and cut and flash. Because they're younger, they've got stronger legs, they're fresher. So they need to be able to use that ability to run up and down the floor to be able to break down KPA's advances. So a simple 4-out, 1-in motion offense would do a lot of good for them because there's no shot clock. You can pass and cut and pass and cut and pass and screen opposite for the next 3 minutes. And we are down the opposing players.
Yes, indeed. And also, I believe that Strathmore should try to sub. The coach should rotate his bench. He has made 2 changes and bring in Amos and Darrell. He should put those 2 players in, give a breather to these other players that have played long stretches yesterday, and see whether the fresh blood can bring something different. Because Coach Kiki has gone straight to his bench early in this game, and they have made the difference. That's how the separation came through, by removing Ariel Local, by removing some of those guys that started, Victor Dendo and Evans Leting. That's how the team went on a run. I believe Coach Tony Ocheng should take the same chance. If you watch NBA games, even when Michael Jordan was playing, sometimes when it's not working, the coach will pull him out and put his bench in, because sometimes you have to find the solution inside the players. Hence, you have to go and keep looking through all your players until some of them click.
Actually, for me, Abel, once upon a time when I was a coach, for me, I always make 5 substitutions by the end of first quarter. So by the end of first quarter, at least 10 of my players have played the game. For the simple reason, I want to see which player is ready and hot for the game. And then I can be able to save up on people who have got foul trouble and that kind of thing. So by the time we get to the second quarter, I know which are my best 5 and who else I can bring in as a sub in the 6th or 7th position.
Yes, indeed. As we see, Strathmore has intensified their defense. They've gone to a man-to-man defense now, as Moses Wanjala controls. Joseph Ouma with a teardrop. Joseph Ouma, I think he on the floor, he's trying to score too much, opposed to try to organize his team, as he has his 3rd turnover one more time, and Muraya with a very bad pass. That pass was not advised because they had a clear 2-on-1. All he had to do is keep attacking the basket and not throw the ball away.
That should be a lesson to all the players out there watching. It is important in a 2-on-1 situation. The boy with the ball has to make sure the defender comes for him before he gives up the ball. Otherwise, if the defender doesn't come for him, he keeps attacking the dribble.
Yes, indeed. As you see Joseph Ouma again controlling, and this one more time, that's his 4th straight turnover, as Muraya puts pressure on him and the ball knocks his leg. And Joseph Ouma tried to discuss this with the referee, but the reality is it's a turnover. He needs to focus. As KPA subs, Moses Wanjala for Samuel Uchola, the veteran, is coming in early today.
He has actually gone 12 deep. Coach Kiki has gone 12 deep. Literally all the players on the bench have got into the game and gotten a breakout sweat. So it has to be important in the 4th quarter when you expect somebody has been fouled on at the center and you bring in somebody else. He's ready for the game because he's already felt the energy and the kind of grind that is there.
Yes, indeed. As we can see, Cliff Alela draws a foul on Martin Kitongo. He drove the baseline. Martin didn't step on the baseline. Everybody watching out there, when you play baseline defense, you need to step on the line. Otherwise, you'll be able to call for a foul each and every time your man is going to spin on that baseline.
And there are many players who are sneaky, Abel. You know, there's some players who know how to squeeze between your foot and the baseline and get to the basket. And in that situation, it will be an and one.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. As we can see, that was a good pass by Muraya, but Fidel couldn't catch the ball, and that's another turnover by Strathmore. Strathmore's offensive rules have continued as KPA leads 27-11 with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. That's a missed jump shot by Dan Ubiambo.
Stolen.
Strathmore starts going on a run. Turnover by Joseph Ongoro. It's really amazing, these turnovers that the players are having by dribbling unnecessarily. And Muraya picks up a foul right in front of the referee on Martin Kitongo. Now this is what I call a frustration foul, because he just turned the ball over and feels he needs to do something about it and picks up an unnecessary foul at the half court.
I don't know what is it a devil, that a demon that gets into players' heads when they out of frustration? I don't get it, because you're supposed to be very disciplined. You know, you have made a turnover, therefore it doesn't really matter that you made a turnover. What do you do next?
Well, it's frustration is because you're worried about what the referee is going to do, as Martin Kitongo fouls Murad. That's his second straight foul, Martin. So I believe Coach Kiki is going to sub. Indeed. He's picked up his third foul as Franklin comes back inside. Frank has had a good start of the game, so that's a good substitution.
It's a good substitution.
Hoping that he continues from where he left.
But I'm concerned about Martin Gitonga because he already has 3 fouls and it's only the second quarter. He's critical for both their offense and defense because of his rebounding ability and his ability to mark post players. And therefore, if he gets a foul trouble too early, it means the chances of him getting off early because of being fouled out is very high.
Yes, indeed. And I believe if I was Coach Tony Cheng at this moment, I would put back my twin towers, my 2 big men, because Brian has sat outside for quite a while now. And yes, indeed, he brought him back in as Muraya fouls. That's Muraya's second foul, I believe. Muraya fouls Joseph Ouma that was going to the basket. Joseph is going to shoot 2 free throws right now.
There we saw a simple recognition play. He was driving down the lane. When he looked up, there was nobody essentially guarding him. So therefore, he decided to attack the paint. And attacking the paint, he was able to draw a foul. Otherwise, it was no foul. I mean, easy basket.
Yes, indeed. It's better to sometimes foul than to allow people to score easy baskets. But you should have fouled earlier before he got inside the paint and started his steps. Joseph Ouma makes both free throws as KPA stretched the lead 29-11. Strathmore has scored 1 basket only in this quarter.
Only 1 basket. It's unfortunate. But KPA's players definitely improved because their 3-point shooting and their free throw shooting has improved from yesterday. And that's why you can see the score is a bit higher for them today compared to Strathmore.
Yes, indeed, as Shilton takes 1 more jump shot. Shilton has shot the ball and has been very, very unfortunate. Has missed the 4 threes he has attempted so far. But I believe he should just keep shooting because you will not score if you don't continue shooting the basketball.
That's correct. But you know, there's a tendency amongst our coaches in Kenya, essentially, when a shooter starts shooting and he misses 2 or 3, they immediately dissuade the player from shooting. So, Coach Abel, you as a coach, if you have a shooter, you know you can take a jump shot, and he misses his first 2 or 3 shots. Do you dissuade him from shooting, or what do you do? Exactly
I would absolutely ask them to continue shooting the basketball and adjust. I shall guide that player in regards to what they need to do, because you need to maintain the focus of your shooter. He or she needs to focus on their mechanics. So you need to just keep reminding them and keep staying positive towards them. Once you do that, it will be easy for you to get more results out of your shooter.
That's correct.
As you can see, Strathmore ran that play again. That allows Mogoka to drive to the basket, but this time he misses. But they've been running this play all the time and be very effective with it because KPA's weak side defense doesn't seem to help.
It's a bit poor.
Score is 29-11 with 3:16 to go in the second quarter as KPA leads, and Joseph Ouma is controlling the game. Joseph Ouma, as usual, when he's playing at the point guard, he's mostly trying to look for pick and roll to score a basket. As he tries again the drive, kicks out to Tobias. Tobias with a 3, misses. Fast break Strathmore, that's a good pass right there. And Ogoro with a superb up and under finish at the basket. 29-13 as Coach Kiki calls for a timeout with 2:49 to go in the second quarter.
That was interesting, Abel. You rarely see that kind of play in the Kenyan basketball where a player goes for a reverse layup or what you call an up and under. Do you think coaches in Kenya discourage the players from doing that simple move?
Yes, indeed. From my little experience, a lot of the coaches discourage that. Even at practice, when the players try such moves, even to just perfect them, a lot of coaches will say they're doing fancy moves or that they're not trying to play. As we can see there, the pass to Ngolo, who scored a left-hand layup. That's very impressive. He's a right-handed player. Most of our players don't make that. That was the long diagonal by Tobias Sudumbe. And here we can see when Cliff Alela drew the foul on Martin. So we have a lot of little broken plays. This is the reverse layup that we're talking about, the up and under by Joseph Ngolo. So these are some of the things that, some of the skills that our coaches must understand are not fancy plays, but they actually help you in tight situations. Because had he gone on the first, in the side in which he was, he could have easily been blocked by an oncoming Tobias Odumbe that could jump that high.
That's correct, and I think it's important that all coaches out here teach their players very many forms of scoring around the basket. Whether it's up and under, whether it is a jump shot and 200 layup, 100 layup, all of them, the player should be able to score the basket at ease from whatever angle.
Yes, indeed, and these are what are called situational scoring capabilities. A lot of our coaches only train players to score in a straightforward manner, in a wide open situation, which means in best case scenario. But you need to teach your players in the worst case scenario how to score. As you can see, Samuel Ochola trying a fadeaway jump shot, and Strathmore with the rebound as Emmanuel Soldier has returned to the court for Coach Tony Ochieng, replacing Peter Shilton, and he turns the ball over immediately. That's a tight hustle play over there as this jump ball situation with Samuel Ochola, and it's KPA ball. Bosire, I still don't agree with the fact that Coach Tony Ochieng brings back Emmanuel Soldier this early in the game, because I think the duo Ongoro and Shilton was working pretty well, and they started making some runs and making some baskets. They usually say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I think, I don't know about your opinion about this, but I think he should not have made that substitution.
That's correct. I share the same opinion in the sense that you've got momentum from a certain caliber of players. So you need to keep those players for as long as possible to ensure that you maximize or you milk that opportunity to score baskets or get defensive stops.
As you see, Victor Bosire back in the game, and there was a miscommunication between him and Franklin. Franklin expected him to hit a jump shot as Bosire opted to pass, but that's okay. That's one turnover. He has been pretty crisp from the beginning of the game, so he can be pardoned this first turnover of his. As Coach Kiki goes back to Victor Bosire and Victor Odendo as his 1-2 guard.
And there's a Victor Electric, so there are three Victors on the court at the same time. Victor Electric,
and Victor Electric, so it's the three Victors at the guard as Frankie Mayoti blocks Fidel, and Fidel, out of frustration, fouls on offense. This is the devil that Bosire has been talking about, the devil of fouling when you make a mistake. That devil has come to haunt Fidel as he picks up his second foul of the game, an unnecessary foul on offense. We can note Franklin today has 3 blocks already in this game, 3 blocks.
He's playing really well.
Made his presence felt. As Bosire off the screen knocks down that 3 as KPA stretched the lead 32-13. We said it, if Victor Bosire keeps shooting this way, Strathmore's going to have a pretty long night.
It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night. Oh, and that was close to a double dribble or travel.
Yes, indeed, it was a double dribble. And Strathmore seems to have a very static offense. I don't know exactly what they've drawn up. I'm pretty curious to see the board of Coach Tony Ochieng and know what exactly they've drawn up to play.
The problem is that they're having the high pick and roll with Mogoko at the end there. But on the weak side, there's no activity. Every player on the weak side is just standing and watching what the pick and roll is about.
As you can see, they turn the ball over one more time. And Victor Bosire trying to do a bit too much this one. And he is going to be called for a jump ball. Jump ball is Strathmore ball with 1 minute to go. 32-13. Strathmore has scored 13 points in 19 minutes of basketball. As Coach Tony Ochieng goes to Darryl, that's the first sub of one of the young boys, one of the young additions that he made for today's game. Let's see what he has to offer.
Is that a finals low for a half? 13 points? Could be.
Yes,
I think we need to go to the archives and see, but I don't think any other team has scored only 13 points in our own half in the finals. And in that last play where Victor Bosire came down the floor, Coach Abel, would you encourage him to take a transition free rather than try to penetrate and lose the ball like he did?
Absolutely, I'm encouraging. He has just made a 3-point, so he has to feel it. We call it an NBA heat check. So he's supposed to just stand there and pull up. If the defense doesn't show up, take the shot. Because he already had Franklin when he ran to the basket, so he had rebounded already secured for him. So that was not a good option that he took by trying to get into the defense. As you can see, KPA takes another rebound as Victor Odendo takes that corner 3, misses again. Strathmore takes the rebound as Soldier runs out. And the students are helter-skelter as Darryl is fouled, and he will go to the line. 32-13 with 11 seconds to go in this second quarter.
All Kenya Power needs to do is come and plug their line here, and they can generate electricity from here to Strathmore and back. All the energy being expended is unbelievable, but it's amounting to nothing.
It's amounting to nothing, but Bosire, we can hear the crowd cheering. What do you think those fans are cheering and excited about?
One is left to wonder. I don't know, it's because it's an athletics meet. Maybe we're in the World Championship or something. I'm not very sure they're sharing a lot.
There you go, Darryl, the substitute, who's come in for today's game, has just made his first free throw. He's come in, he's been aggressive. You've seen his 2 plays he's been really aggressive in trying to play and take it to the hole. And maybe that's what Coach Tony needs. And he's bringing Amos Aduke also to come inside and to see, because these guys have nothing to lose. They're young boys who have the desire to be on the court.
That's correct. That's correct. And that's why it's important to expose your players as much as possible from early in the season. So by the time you get to the finals or to get the playoffs, your players are already used to coming to the game, whether it's for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and able to give some impact or to give what they have for themselves. If you keep a player on the bench all season long, and then all of a sudden you expect that he's going to come in the finals and win the ball game for you, you must be a daydreamer.
Yes, indeed, it's not going to happen that way. You know, when you plan your practice sessions, you must have all special situations in consideration. Who goes in at what time? Which rotations do I use in the second quarter? If I'm down, who do I play? If I'm up, who do I play?
That's correct.
All these little details are some of the weaknesses that we have here that we do not take into account.
Correct.
We generally coach the starting lineup in an ideal situation. In coaching, we should never focus on the ideal situation because that takes care of itself.
It's obvious, yes.
We must always think about the special situations.
Correct.
Those are the most critical situations where a coach is important to empower his or her players to be able to play when those moments arise. As KPA runs the clock and Victor pulls up and he's fouled. He's fouled. Sami Mogoko, that is a very bad foul. We do not foul jump shooters. He fouls him with 1.2 seconds to go. Bosire, do you think that the inexperience of Strathmore is creeping in slowly?
It's their biggest problem in this particular game. Their biggest problem. They are being drawn into situations where experience is supposed to show, but it's not there. They have not been in that situation before. They have not been in a championship game where they are fighting for their lives. Therefore, they cannot be able to adjust their mindset to that particular situation. Also, I can say that the inexperience not only is it with the players, but also with their coach. The coach is also inexperienced in this particular kind of situation. Therefore, you can't really blame them for that the state of affairs.
Yes, indeed. As you can see, Sami Mogoko bumping into Bosire. But have you noticed that Bosire actually cheated on that possession because he actually extended his feet sideways? This is what Sami Mogoko was complaining about, because he opened his legs wide, as you saw in the replay, and that's where the contact was made. As the halftime bell rings, 34-14, KPA leads in this second game. Game 2 of the finals, they lead 34-14 at the half. Coach Tony Ocheng has a lot of work to do at halftime to be able to get back into this game and get morale of his players up. Well, see, real quick, what I've noticed is the body language of Strathmore is not good. What do you think?
Yeah, the problem is their only chance to win a game in this particular series, in these 2 games at home, was game 1. And they let it slip. And because of their inexperience, they don't have that ability to pump themselves up for game 2. Because they've never been there. They've never been down in a game 1 and win a game 2 in the finals. That is critical for players. And I keep telling players, you have to go through certain situations to understand your demeanor, your character, your poise when you're in a certain hole. And therefore, I'm not surprised that they are down. They are kind of subdued in
and
their
you can
character.
see veteran Samba Mjomba and Hilda and Dasi. Do you think they're discussing about their game? Are they practicing? Are they talking to each other to be able to tie the series with KPA today?
I hope they're not discussing how handsome the commentators are.
Yeah, yes indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bosire Bogonko speaking live from African Nazarene University, and today I'm joined by Coach Clay Carter of the Equity Bank men's team. I'm going to ask you a few questions about the game. Welcome.
Thank you, Bosire.
So, Coach Clay, you have already watched the game for one half, and the final score is 34 to KPA and 14 to Strathmore Bullets. What do you think about the game so far?
So far, I think the game was fine. So far, I think the game was fine. Strathmore started well, Blade started well, KPA also started well. But at some point, when the scores were 11-9, 11 to KPA's favor, Blades sort of were caught napping. And the moment they were caught napping, Bosire, the point guard for for Strathmore, for KPA, seemed to have realized that, and he got the ball by the horns and just came and shot a 3. That 3 sort of rattled Blades. Then, before they know it, he came and shot another 2. And suddenly the gap was 16-11, and that's where they lost the game. Suddenly they were under pressure. Everything wasn't working for them. Trying to catch up, playing individual basketball as opposed to team basketball. And the more they kept playing that way, the more they kept losing, the more they kept having turnovers. So that's where they lost. They sort of lost the quarter.
Okay, it's interesting that you mentioned that the collapse of Strathmore. They have only scored 14 points in this half. So in the first half, I think they had about 9 points, and they've only scored 5 points in the second half. In the second quarter, is 14 points in one half low, the lowest number of points scored by a team in a half in the finals in Kenya?
I think so. I don't remember seeing any other game that the scores have been that low. And this is primarily it boils down to that score 11-9. If I were the coach of Strathmore, that's the moment I would have realized something has gone wrong here. Called the timeout, corrected it quickly, and gotten the guys back, get their heads back in order so that they keep the scores moving. Because from 9 they've only scored 5, which is quite shocking. They managed to in the semi-finals, surprisingly, they managed to hold on Ulinzi, I think in game 4, from a 23-17 score to a 30-36 score. So Ulinzi scored only 7 in one quarter. Now it's their turn, so they need to come out of it and quickly grab the bull by the horns in third quarter.
So if you're the coach of KPA, what 2 things would you tell your players to be able to maintain that kind of lead and win the ball game?
So KPA have figured out how to play Blades, which is deny the point guard the ball as much as possible. And the moment they deny the point guard the ball, the other 2-3 men seem to want to take the ball one-on-one, coast to coast, from end to end. When you take the ball coast to coast from end to end, and KPA is a team of size, they sort of trap you, and all of a sudden it's a turnover. So they should just maintain that, keep the pressure on the point guard, deny him the ball as much as possible. I see the small point guard, Muriah, they're giving him the left side. Keep him to the left as much as possible all the time, and it's working for them. Okay. It worked for them yesterday, and again, at least it's working for them now.
And if you're the Blades coach, what would you tell your players now to try and get that deficit off?
The Blades coach, obviously now they're down 20 points. They still have 2 quarters. They need to come back energetic. They need to take them full court press. It's going to be hard. Full court press is a tall order. It takes the breath out of you, but that's what they have to do. They don't have a chance, but they don't have a lot of time, but they have to take them full court press. Hopefully within the full court press, by the end of third quarter, they've lowered the scores to a gap of about 8-9 points, and then the fourth quarter again, they lower it to about 1 or 2 points, or even get a point above them. That's the only way they'll have to attack this game. Otherwise, if they go on with the same tempo that they're doing, this game is likely to be a blowout if they don't change.
Okay, the last question is, what's your prediction of the game and the series?
2 predictions. If they don't change, obviously, I see the final scores as 60-40 or 60-42. Series, I think KPA seem to have a good stronghold on this. They won the game yesterday. The game yesterday would have been very important for Blades. They won the game yesterday. They look like they're going to win this game today, which means then the series is looking a 3-0 or a 3-1 series.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was Coach Clay.
It's 34-14. We are hoping that Strathmore University coach Tony Ochieng has been able to tell something to the boys to pick up their energy and for the boys to get back into this game and give us a proper finals game like they did yesterday. So, Bosiri, we are hoping that after the Strathmore lads went outside to talk with Coach Tony Ochieng, and I think the head of sports also, Coach Sylvia Kamau, also must have dropped in a couple of words. We are hoping that right now they'll come back in with a different energy and different mindset and be pushed. I have a quick question in regards to fans. Do you think, or don't you think that their fans should actually get more involved in this game? Because I think the Strathmore crowd is a bit too silent for these boys. At this moment, they are in no man's land. They don't know where they are, these boys. And I think if they had energy from their crowd, if they had energy from their fans, that at least could help them get back into this game.
That is critical, Adam. And for me, as a player, whenever we were down and I had my fans shouting in the screen, it gave me that extra pep to go hard and try and win the game. So it's important that their fans get vocal and put their life and breath into their chances.
Yes, indeed, especially for such a young team. As you see, KPA trying to go to Mayoti early in the game. Busire called for a carry, and that was a carrying violation on that hesitation. Right now, let's see what the kids have to do. Coach Tonio Cheng starts with a new lineup with Cliff Alela starting this time as Coach Kiki brings back Aria Lokal also. So let's see how these two teams start this second half. As you can see, Soja being dared to shoot the basketball, but he's not really a jump shooter, so he's not attempting to shoot the ball. As Cliff Alela puts up a shot, rebounded by Strathmore. Another strong drive and a drop. That was a good pass, but the pass did not make it to the end, so. So as you can see, Strathmore has started with a different lineup this half. So let's hope to see what's going to happen in the second half as Okal gets the ball down low on the young boy Brian Onyango. Takes a fadeaway jump shot, misses. Frankly misses the offensive rebound and picks up a foul. Yes, indeed. 34-14. No basket has been scored in the second half. Simon Mogoka kicks out. And this is what we're talking about. Our shooting rules, Busire. Cliff Alela was wide open but couldn't take the jump shot. That's a good take inside. And Brian Onyango. Let's hope this can wake up the students with a putback dog to cut the scores 34-16, 8:20 to go. And that's the way Strathmore opens up the second half. And we are hoping that their energy is going to be picked up from this point on. And we can see something as Victor Busire launches a long three to silence the Strathmore crowd. This is a heartbreaker. 37-16 are the scores. And if somebody replies with such a three-point Busire, that kind of breaks down your.
After that, such a big dunk, you expect that the other team gets deflated. But KPA showed their poise. Busire came up the floor, got a pick, and hit the three. That's real poise. That's championship play.
Yes, indeed. As you can see, Brian Onyango responds to another basket. He has 2 baskets now as the second half starts. As Victor Busire starts playing with the ball, is he going to take another shot? We know he can usually get very heated and start taking a lot of jump shots. Evans 13 drives, kicks out to Victor Busire. He takes another shot, misses. Strathmore goes on the run. That's Mogoka. Easy layup. Good take by Simon Mogoka. 37-20. You can hear the fans now starting to cheer up the students. The students need a lot of this to get back in this game right now.
They need those chippies, steal the ball, grab a rebound, tap the ball away, and then go in transition. You get KPA slipping, you get easy baskets, and you win the ball game, or at least you reduce the margin.
And it's another turnover by KPA, and Strathmore pushing the ball one more time to Samuel Mogoka. Is he going to create something here? Can they make a third stop? Brian Onyango with the ball. Takes a mid-range jump shot.
Brian Onyango has taken over the ball game.
These boys coming to the second half. Remember Coach Tony and his coaching staff told the boys, I believe it has changed their mindset. And these boys have come back in this game ready to play. They look like the Strathmore we expected.
Exactly. That's what they should have started from the beginning. They look like they look like a threat. But in this second half, they have started very well with Brian Onyango attacking the lane and taking jump shots with ease.
As you can see, Lake Evans cutting that lead down. But do you think that the gap that they allow KPA to take might be their biggest problem in this game because they are down 17 points at this moment?
Essentially, as long as they allow KPA to keep scoring, then it will be a problem. And as you know, for you to be able to break down a 17 deficit, you have to put full court pressure and play a full court game all the time. So you put and expect to get steals and make easy layups. But that's not happening. They're sitting down on their defense and allowing KPA to come and pass the ball around.
So Coach Tonio Cheng should put a pressure defense and capitalize on making every option that he has. As Ngoro takes a long three, misses it. That was kind of a wild shot because the defense was set. Strathmore doesn't need such shots at this moment.
Not at all. Not at all. They need to have some poise. They need to be able to move the ball around a little bit. Get the ball to Brian Onyango. He has already scored six points so far. Get the ball to Brian Onyango. Let him play his man because they're not helping on Brian Onyango.
There goes Busire playing around with the basketball before he launches a prayer of a teardrop that he misses, and Frankie Mayoti fights for the boards as he gets it and they can reset their offense.
As you can see, there's no real ball pressure from Strathmore trying to get the ball as quickly as possible out of KPA's hands. They're allowing Bosire to get the ball and dribble it and pass the ball around and look for any pass, That you cannot be able to get off a 17 point deficit without putting some pressure.
Ngoro in the corner, passes over the three-point shot, which is a real problem. As Soja takes it to the basket, misses. And it's quite amazing. It doesn't seem as if the Strathmore boys are playing, understanding that they're down 17 points with 4 minutes 45 to go in this third quarter. Scores are 39-22. Yes, indeed, you have to remember that the game hasn't stopped since. The game has been flowing at the same pace. That's exactly why the time seems to be going so fast. As Coach Tony Cheng is taking a sub and bringing in Peter Shilton. Shilton is coming in for Ngoro. Ngoro just passed over a very wide open three-point shot that could have helped cut this lead.
Because he missed the one at the top of the key early on, so he gets deflated. Like we talked before, most of our players get deflated when they shoot and they miss. They tend to think that today is not my day. But in actual fact, you need to keep shooting, like you said, and adjusting something small in your shot.
Especially that the shot that he missed at the top of the key was not the same shot. That was the fourth shot that he took. And Coach Tony Ochieng makes another sub by removing Brian Onyango, which is kind of amazing. He takes him out of the court, yet he has been the spark for his team and puts in Fidel. Maybe he has foul trouble as Mayoti fights for the defensive board and puts it back in. But this is quite interesting, this substitution by Coach Tony Ochieng.
Yeah, because you can see Brian Mayoti has been marked by Cliff Alela. Cliff Alela is not the height of Brian Mayoti. He's an undersized big man. There's no way he can be able to block out Mayoti, Franklin Mayoti. That was about to be careless by KPA, but they've been bailed out by the hustle play of Victor Bosile.
Yes, indeed. And Manu Soja there with another careless foul as Tony Cheng subs and puts back Mariah in.
Picks up his second foul. That is Soja, second foul.
KPA leads 41-22 with 3:50 to go in this third quarter as they control this second game of the KBF finals. Victor Bosire has been very instrumental. He has been their heart player together with Franklin as he goes in for a change and is fouled by Soja. Soja picks up his third foul. Third foul for Soja.
I think, like we said before, Victor Bosire is the key to KPA winning today. He started off very aggressively. He's been taking his jump shot. He's attacking the lane with the dribble. There's nobody who can guard him on the Strathmore side. Soja, I don't think, has got the capacity or capability to guard the quickness and the shooting ability of Victor Bosire.
Yes, indeed, he does not have that defensive capacity. As we can see, Coach Tony Cheng bringing in Amos Aduke, the young boy, one of the other young additions that he made on today's roster. Maybe we can see, maybe he can bring that spark of life as Victor Bosire knocks down both of his free throws to bring the scores to 43-22. So Amos Aduke comes in for P. Fanena. Amos Aduke is a former Maseno student. He represented Kenya at Basketball Without Borders in South Africa 2 years ago as one of the candidates. So he's a player who has at least been able to play in different places. Washington misses that corner shot, and that is rebounded by Soja. As you can see, the whole of KPA defense is inside the paint. We got to make these shots. That's really what needs to happen. And these Strathmore boys don't seem to be able to make. That's a travel by Bosire that was not called. A foul by Mariah.
There's that contention issue about that first step that you take when you're in transition and you're running and the ball comes in your hand. There's always been that contention issue about the first step that you take before you put the ball on the floor. That I think was addressed partially by the new change of laws in traveling rules that allowed the zero step. Don't you think that the situation was a zero step?
We can see the replay. If the replay could show us again when Bosire catches the ball initially. Indeed, he did that zero step. That's what he did as he makes his free throws. There's no sportsmanlike foul calls. A lot of the players and coaches have to adjust to that step, knowing that it's a step that is legal. It's legal play in the game of basketball.
I'll tell you something, Coach Abel, as he misses his second free throw. That zero step for me has always been a problem because I always had it in my game and I was always called for the travel. And I always argue with the referees, it is impossible not to have that 0 step in transition, because it's impossible to catch the ball and immediately put it on the floor. There's that step you have to take half a step to complete so that you can be able to put the ball on the floor. So I'm very happy that it was introduced. Unfortunately, it's too late for me now. I cannot play competitively.
Yes, as Coach Tony Ocheng takes out a soldier to bring in Ongoro, and immediately the turnover provoked. And both Victors hustle down. Big hustle play. As KPA goes on that run and a good pass. Franklin Maruti scores that basket from a great pass by Evans Letty to stretch the lead 46-22. 2 minutes 36 to go as KPA continue controlling this game as Muraya takes it inside the paint and draws the foul on Victor Busiri. KPA today has come. It's a no-nonsense affair. They are just basically destroying the students today.
What I've actually noticed on their offense is that they're playing some kind of a 1-4 low. So the 4 players are low and they leave the point guard isolated at the top of the key to break down his man and try and get to the rim or drop the ball to the big man or get the ball to the sides to. And I don't understand why Strathmore are still insisting on playing that man-to-man, because you can't have the point guard at the top of the key always breaking down your man and you do nothing about it.
Yes, indeed. And the irony about this whole game is that the biggest problem Strathmore has is their offense. And as we know, as the young boy Amos Aduke takes the ball, shoots an air ball. It's the offense of Strathmore that's the problem, and the coaches make a lot of defensive adjustments, but the reality is their offense has not clicked. And when you don't make enough offensive runs in basketball, your defense will eventually leak. As Ever 13 takes a drive and gets blocked, but our locale follows with a big rebound, and Franklin Mayotti with a tip, and the crowd puts it back inside.
He needs Brian inside. He needs Brian in there.
Yes, he does. It's amazing that he removes Brian, his best rebounder, and he's just being smashed in the paint. Because KP has most of his points in the paint through second shots and tip-ins, as Victor Boside picks up another foul. Brian Yango comes in. He comes in for Fidel. As Moses Wanjala comes in for Evans Litton. I think somebody needs to take charge in this game for Strathmore and try to carry the offensive load by himself. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, between the guards, the shooting guards of Joseph Ongoro and Shilton, they need to be able to attack the lane or take the jump shot. And I think one of the biggest problems I've noticed from their jump shots, both Ongoro and Shilton, is that they're incomplete jump shots. They're literally, there's not that extension to have a follow-through, etc. They're just literally throwing the ball. It's like they're in a hurry to shoot the ball, instead of just being poised and setting your feet and just taking a shot with the mechanics you're used to.
Yes, indeed. They're rushing their shots. With 1 minute 32 to go, KPA leads 48-22. Imagine this game ended 50-51 yesterday. A tight encounter, low scoring but a very tight encounter. And today it looks like a very different ballgame, with KPA dominating this game from tip-off. What do you think happened here?
I think it's a collapse of Strathmore yesterday. It affected them generally in their play. So it was critical for Strathmore to win game 1. If they won game 1, today's game would have also been interesting, because they would have come in as winners and KPA would have come as aggressors. But from the demeanor of the Strathmore bench, you can see they're all deflated and like not interested in playing the game. Oh my God!
That was a good pass to Brian Onyango, who just scoops it in, 49-24. He has had some pretty good minutes in this second half. When he came in, it was quite surprising why the coach pulled him out early in the game, as Joseph Awuma comes in as usual, trying to score, and he's snatched by Muraya. That was an incredible steal by Muraya. Good 1-2 play there. That's a foul by Moses Wanjala. And a very unsportsmanlike play with an elbow to the face to Peter Shilton.
That's the problem. That's the problem I have with quite a number of KPA players. Exactly. You cannot go to block someone and then you fall him on the floor and you land with the elbow on him with the intent of hurting him. Surely, are we here to hurt each other? Or are we here to enjoy the game?
Well, some people believe that basketball is war, so they will do anything that they can do to take advantage of the situation on the basketball.
Exactly. It's unfortunate. And unfortunately in Kenya we applaud that kind of nonsensical behavior. It's unfortunate that when his teammates will applaud him for hurting somebody else.
Yes, indeed. And it's amazing because I've had this situation several times as a player and as a coach where the referee would have seen, and I'm sure this referee, Mr. Kiumba, saw that play, and what he will do is warn the player and say, don't do that anymore. There is no warning in a sportsmanlike play.
No.
If you elbow somebody on the floor, you get an
foul. Exactly.
That's all that happens. And so it's rather unfortunate, and it penalizes our players when they get out of the country.
Exactly.
Because over there's no time to warn you for playing like that. Like you can see Joseph Ouma now pushing off Muraya out of frustration. And it's in front of the referee. So a lot of the things we talked about yesterday, it's our referees do not prepare our players for the international game. As you can see, a nice 1-2, Moses Wandela that scoops that ball in, and a nice hustle play there by KPA. KPA seems to be playing with a bit more demeanor. They look a bit more like the team that played the Zone 5 championship at the end of last year. Today, they're playing a bit better with more.
There's a lot of holding, and I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, Abel, I don't get it. I've played international games. There's not. They don't play this physical. They don't hold and pull, and that's all KPA is doing. They can't allow these guys to go through screens. They're just pulling them back and pushing them on the floor. And I don't get it.
This is where the role of a referee comes in, because you can't stop a player from moving without the ball.
Exactly.
If the referees don't make the call, they're the ones who are influencing the basketball game.
Exactly.
Because players have the right to move when they don't have the basketball. You have no right to be so close as Shipton takes that long three, misses. Strathmore has not been able to connect from the three-point line. And there goes Joseph Ouma on the coast-to-coast. Scores the basket. It's an offensive, no basket call, offensive foul. That's the right call by the referee, offensive foul. As you can see, Joseph Ouma seems to have tried to force the play every time he gets on the floor.
Exactly.
What is exactly his part? He's supposed to be a point guard, but he seems to be more preoccupied by scoring points than trying to organize his teammates.
I think I know his mentality. He's trying to prove to the coach that he made a mistake by not starting him. That's a typical mentality of players. You didn't start me, I'll show you.
But he is digging his own grave by doing that, because he is having one of the worst games I've ever seen him play since I've known him as a basketball player.
Unfortunately, players don't have that capacity that mind to be able to see things ahead and see, what am I doing? Is it right for me? Is it right for the team? They don't. So your job is to be a point that you need to be able to do things in a certain way.
Yes, indeed. I believe Coach Kiki should not fall into the trap of playing him for the sake of playing him. We should just sub him such that he can wake up. As Pascal takes a long three, misses that one, and the quarter ends 51-26. KPA completely dominating this game, turning this into a one-man show and to a lackluster game. This game
KPA has scored the same number of points in 3 quarters that they did yesterday in 4 quarters. What is the difference?
One is a three-point shooting, because today they've already made 4 or 5 three-pointers. It's a 15 points difference already from this point in the game. They've shot the free throws better today. Yes, those are the 2 stats compared to yesterday that really stand out, because both teams still scored inside yesterday. But that's the biggest stat in terms of how KPA reached 51 points so early. As you can see, the Strathmore fans are kind of bored up there right now. They can feel their team is not really getting back.
This DJ, that's what we do. The noise is too much. Yeah. Yeah.
You can see Mugambi, the Strathmore student, who is trying to coach his teammates, give some pep talk maybe. He's trying to talk about what they should maybe do in the second half to get themselves back into this game. Remembering that after this second game, the series moves to Mombasa for the 3rd game, where if they go down there 2-0, it'll be an uphill task, because it's a best-of-5 series. And as we can see there, the treasurer, the secretary general of the Kenya Basketball Federation, and Mr. Agina also sitting there in our presence. We welcome them here. Mr. Vistalis Gode and Mr. Orero, who are here watching these games, seeing how the action unfolds. They've come here to grace us with their presence at African Nazarene. You can see the beautiful venue. African Nazarene, this indoor venue is very, very good, and it can accommodate a lot of big events. What do you think of this?
It's lovely, and it's very good for shooting, live shows, live events, and etc. because you've got enough space, enough moving space for fans to move around, for the cameras to move around. And just as we speak about the venue, I'd like to thank again our sponsors. Enlightened Sports and Events Network, who have sponsored this whole finals to the tune of 1 million shillings, which covers things like referees' fees, logistics for the officials in the finals, prizes, and venue payment, and of course broadcasting rights.
Yes, indeed. We thank them, and thanks to them, we can at least have these finals hosted in a great venue and being able to broadcast these games. As Moses Wanjala draws an offensive foul on Soja. Soja picks up his 4th foul, a frustration foul. He decided to elbow him as he was trying to drive to the basket. Moses Wanjala is one of those players like Dennis Rodman. He knows how to provoke players, itch you until you get out of your shell and you make the wrong play.
Correct.
As Shiva tries to connect with his old-time buddy, Ariel Okal.
They played with each other for a long time. In Kenya and KPA in Kampala with the
Falcons.
Yeah. So they've got some kind of understanding. They've got some chemistry.
Yes, indeed. So let's see if he can try to take advantage of that situation and make something happen for the two of them.
So, Coach Abel, for example, you are the coach of Strathmore now. Would you still play your starting 5, or would you give a chance for your bench players? Would you play out your bench players? Because to me, the game looks like it's lost.
Well, the reality is that personally, from the 3rd quarter, I would have played my bench already. And then in this 4th quarter, in the first 5 minutes, I would play my starting lineup, but with the objective of addressing some changes we're going to execute in Game 3. And I'll look at them in the first 5 minutes and see. And if it works, it's fine. And I'll sub them out and play the bench for the rest of the game. Because this game is gone, done and dusted, especially with no 24-second shot clock. And that's what I would do. Because you can't play the same way the whole time. You have to have a strategy. What am I going to do in the next game?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you need to try it right now.
Yeah. And do you think that also applies for KPA? With the game already at 27-point difference?
Yeah, for KPA, I'll just play those who haven't played much. Because remember this, one of the biggest things that happened for KPA today is their bench is the one that came and made the game. So their starters, like you see, Victor Odendo hasn't played many minutes. He should get on the court. Captain Samuel Ochola has barely been on the court. He should get on the court because those guys have enough experience to maintain this game at this level. So you need to put them on the floor and allow them to score. As Shilton is left wide open and he misses everything point blank.
And speak of the devil, Victor Odendo is about to be subbed in by the KPA team. So I think Coach Kiki actually read your mind and
yes, indeed. So he needs to also bring in Samuel Ochola and just allow his bench to play at this moment because he's taking no risk by doing that. He has a cushion. It's 53-26. It's a 27-point difference in the 4th quarter, in running time, 9 minutes to go. You have enough time to reach a 10 points deficit before you can panic.
That's correct.
As a coach. So yes, play your bench. As Joseph Ouma again runs frantically to the hoop. I think Coach Kiki, he was a very experienced point guard. He should have a one-on-one pep talk with Joseph Ouma on the role of a point guard and how you come in as a substitute point guard because unfortunately, we will keep talking about him today. He has not been doing a good job.
He's haphazard, he's erratic, he's chaotic. He's terrible.
Yes, indeed. As he throws in another turnover on the inbounds play. I mean, we can go on and on with him as Mogox gets in.
Gives a wild pass to Fidel and end up no basket.
Goes on the run again. Joseph Ouma with his mythical teardrop. Scores his favorite basket.
That's his favorite basket.
And KPA stretches the lead. 55-26. That's because Tony Cheng doesn't like what he's seeing. Calls a timeout. 8:24 to go. That's Joseph Ouma. We can see on that coast to coast that found the angle on the glass to stretch the lead. 55-26. As Coach Tony Cheng doesn't like what he sees and calls a timeout.
What exactly would you tell your team in Game 2 of the finals when you're about to go 2 down, and in that game you're 20-30 points down?
Exactly what I said. I would talk to my team about Game 3. We would have to strategize. What has KPA done today to frustrate Strathmore? KPA has not allowed Strathmore to pass the ball inside the paint. So as Coach Tony, I would look for other options. Use a pick and roll game. Use a simple motion, pass and cut, create movement. Because once you create movement, Strathmore has players that are good enough at driving to the basket. All of them can go from Shilton to Soja to Mugo. So move the ball, pass and cut, floor spacing, because KPA congests every time they run through the ball inside. So spread the floor wide, and try some of those tactics. Maybe by trying some of those things, you can get some life, and the game can come back to you. And then you can see what you can use in your game 3. Because right now, the way they play, I don't see them preparing themselves to play game 3.
Exactly. They'll use the same old tactics, which have let them down anyway. They'll use the same old tactics, which have left them down anyway.
Exactly. So there they go with the pick and roll. And he's trying to force. Look, if you look at the screen, you can see all 4 players of KP were inside the paint. Only 1 player was outside the paint. Yet, Samuel Mogos was trying to still make thread the needle pass into the key. That is not the right move. There goes Darrow going into the paint also. Look at that. We can see 5 KP players with their 2 feet inside the lane.
Get the ball wide, spread your players, shoot the 3, draw them out, and attack with a dribble drive penetration.
And this is amazing because we get discouraged so quickly because Shilton has missed 4 or 5 shots. Or we say stop shooting. They have to keep shooting because shooters in basketball get streaky. That's how it's called.
Exactly.
They get streaky and hot.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter. It's 8 minutes to go. If I make the first 2 threes, that's a 6 point. We just make a couple of stops and we can get back in this game with 8 shots only, which is very achievable. But the coach has already given up on that option. They're going back to the same thing that they were doing yesterday. That worked for them, and that is not working today. As KPA control the ball, and of course they're going to start playing 4 corners to hold the ball. But with 7:52, this is what I was arguing about. It's too much time in basketball game to hold the ball. You still need to attack.
But there's no pressure. There's no pressure from Strathmore. There's no ball pressure. There's no denial. There's nothing.
As Moses draws the fouls on Ongoro, Strathmore players seem deflated. One of the reasons why Osiri you sub your starters at this point is that they're already mentally out of the game.
Exactly.
Because they're very irritated.
Exactly.
And the worst that can happen to you is they can get an injection or they can get a foul.
Correct.
They can get
Get injured, yeah, exactly.
So your smartest move is to sub them because you don't need them to be a part of this embarrassment.
Correct.
You need your players that don't have enough minutes to be a part of this. As Dan takes a wild shot, even in the spirit of trying to score, he didn't need that shot. And Goro has perfected that left-hand layup as he makes another good layup there.
It looks like he's been working on it.
Right now?
Yeah, it looks like he's been working on it.
Yes, indeed. It looks like he's been working on it
He's
because he's taking it very confidently.
Yeah.
As you can see, KPA has no intention to really score early.
There!
That's a good drive and dunk by Victor to Ariel Okal, the 2-hand dunk. That's one of the plays that Ariel Okal loves. That was a nice play by Victor Deno who drove the defense. He put the defense to the side, and that was Ariel Okal with a strong finish, 2-hand, to the pleasure of their noisy KPA fans that came to Nairobi to cheer on their team. And Strathmore misses one more easy basket. They cannot seem to get anything going for them today. They're just such games in basketball, and you have to live with it. So then the one more time, moves the ball. Oka with a jump shot. That dunk must have opened up his game, and he makes a mid-ranger to stretch the lead. 59-28 with 6 minutes to go.
And it's amazing that actually it's KP who seem to be very comfortable trying to play some high pick and roll action on the offensive end. Strathmore just grinding something out.
It's really amazing, and it's kind of disappointing at this moment to see Coach Tony's team collapse this much. Coach Tony has experience in coaching. He has been the coach for the junior boys national team for Kenya for the past 4 to 5 years and has gone for all these tournaments. He should have been able to read such plays since. And there's one basic thing we've always been taught. Sometimes, as we can look at the highlights coming up, that's a hustle play there, that's a foul by Moses, and this is Joseph Owuma, aka Shiva, going on that coast to coast and finding space off the glass. Here we can see Sami Mogos with a very good pass there on Ongoro, who has a good left hand finish, move that he seems to have perfected because he keeps going back to it. As you can see, Victor Dendo on that pick and roll where he gave the ball in to Ariel Okal for a 2-hand strong finish at the end of the play. those such plays that usually discourage teams at this point. So as I was saying, sometimes in basketball we were taught, sometimes you have to copy your opponents. Whatever they throw at you, you throw back at them.
Correct.
And you see how they guard it themselves.
Correct.
So KPA is running a direct pick and roll. They're beating you on that play. Run the same direct pick and roll as Strathmore. Read the way they play defensively when they stop you, and then try to emulate the same thing.
That's correct.
I mean, sometimes that's how you get to disturb an opponent, because a lot of teams work on some stuff and don't work on the counter of the same moves that they've been working on. And Strathmore keeps missing free throws. Today, Strathmore has not been very good on the free throw line, yet KPA has been shooting very well on the free throws.
I think they made some adjustments to their shooting. They must have talked about their shooting overnight or in the morning. They could have been actually gone for morning practice to work on their shooting, because their shooting has been actually exceptional. Both the 3 points, the 2 points, and even the free throws.
Yes, so do you think that, as we mentioned yesterday, it's the fact that KPA has these experienced players, so most likely they had a one-on-one talk with each other, psyched each other up and told each other, hey, we have better experience than this, we cannot play this way, let's get back into our style of play, and they came back in it. What do you think about that?
That's correct. I think for me, generally, when I was an older player and we were in this situation when we had equally older players, always had that kind of talk. Especially when we had a bad game, we came together and we said, no, this cannot happen again. It's unacceptable. Like, we can be champions and we're playing like we have come to the finals for the first time. So it's a high possibility to have that kind of chat. And it's always good to have the player to player chat. You know, the coaches don't have to be involved in that kind of discussion.
Yes, indeed. As you see, Captain Samuel Uchula checked in from the bench, just as mentioned earlier. Raymond Kimani for Strathmore checks in. So the coach is actually trying to go a little bit towards their benches, but Tony still has 4 starters on the floor. It's 5 minutes to go, 59-29, KPA still leads. As Joseph Oban with yet another turnover on that play. Coach Tony emptying his bench slowly. You're supposed to empty the bench at this point. You have nothing else to play for. He's going to be called for 5 seconds here. No. As Darryl takes the drive, very nice move to the basket. Darryl goes up there. That's the 3rd foul that he draws on the KPA players. And this is what I was talking about, that at the time when they were still in the slump in the first quarter, because Tony Ocheng should have substituted and rotated all his players. As you can see, a good drive here. Baseline was open as Darryl Lamoni goes to the basket and is fouled by Martin Kitonga, who is late on the rotation to the basket. He sinks his first free throw. And we can see Coach Tony Ocheng. What do you think is going through his mind right now?
I think he's trying to figure out exactly how KPA has beaten him. I don't think he has quite figured it out. So I think that's what he's trying to figure out in his head, even as he prepares for Game 3 in the coming week. Exactly how KPA were able to break down their play while being able to play so comfortably by themselves.
As KPA turns the ball over, it's 59-31, 4:48 to go in this 4th quarter. Strathmore putting pressure. They're trying to at least reduce the scores and not lose by such a margin. Down with the ball again as he steps out of bounds. Out of bounds.
He stepped out, huh? He stepped out.
Yes, he did. Step out of bounds as Coach Kiki calls the timeout. He doesn't like what he's seeing. He thinks his team is starting to joke around.
Exactly.
To allow Strathmore to get back in the game.
Exactly.
You know, at this level, usually what you want as a coach like Kiki is you want to discourage Strathmore from wanting to play against you again. You don't want them to come back in the game and lose by 10 and say, if we had done this, we would. No, you want them to leave feeling that
they have no chance
nothing
whatsoever.
Yes, they should just come for holidays when they go to
exactly.
Carry their swim trunks.
Because from Saturday evening, they'll be swimming in the ocean.
in the Indian Ocean. And they'll be having fun on the beach with their fans.
Exactly.
But all this, having said all this, Strathmore should still be proud of themselves because the students are very young have managed to break the jinx of the quarterfinals all the way to the finals. This is a milestone for university. This is a great thing. They eliminated a military team where all those players are recruited to play basketball.
Correct.
They train throughout the day. And Strathmore students are in class throughout the day and only have time to practice for an hour 30 minutes because the facility doesn't have lights and they end classes at 5, so basically start practice around 5:30.
6
o'clock.
They can
only stretch all the way to 7 o'clock maximum. I mean, isn't that amazing?
It's a great achievement. It's a great achievement, and it just shows, like you said earlier, if you invest something, you always get out something from it. And that's their patience and their investment in the players has actually gotten this very fine example of them getting to the finals.
Yes, indeed. So that's a good job that their sponsors have been doing and the institution have been doing in regards to getting them those scholarships. As you see, KPA missing down, taking it strong to the hoop, and referee didn't call. The referee decided there was a no call, which was fine. It's better than making that call. I can hear the fans out there calling for a travel.
Yeah.
Referee won't call a travel there because there is some contact. So he's just letting it play. He just let the play unfold there. Darrow had a chance to score and he missed it.
That's correct. That's correct.
As you can see, Odendo playing the post. He's playing the pick and roll. That was a superb pick and roll by Victor Odendo. This is the one thing we talked about Victor Odendo. He's right now on the court with Joseph Ouma, but he's realized Joseph Ouma has too many turnovers.
He's too erratic,
and
exactly.
he's running the point guard.
Exactly.
And ever since he's run the point guard, we've seen that pick and roll. That
They're
led
stable,
to one dunk,
exactly.
and that's now a good basket by Martin.
That's correct.
That's Raymond
Kimani.
61-31, 3:40 to go.
That'll give him some confidence, yeah? Like yesterday, he had a horrible game when he came in the third quarter. He had
Yes,
3 turnovers and had to be subbed again. So that's good for his confidence as a young player.
Yes, indeed. And there goes Victor on a good drive and a good pass one more time. It's Joseph Ouma with his favorite move, the teardrop. He has not been able to connect with that move today. Victor trying to show him how it's done as he draws the foul. You know, one fun fact is Victor Odendo actually practices on a daily basis with the Strathmore students.
Yeah.
Darryl is one of his favorite practice partner. So they actually know each other, and that's why Darryl is actually guarding him, because he looks up to Victor. Victor is one of his role models. I mean, he's a mentor. He's been that stellar player in this league for all these years. So he works out with those kids and teaches them the trick or two every now and then. So I'm sure Darryl is trying to show him, hey, I've been learning that defense. Yeah. Maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
But it's not yet your time, young blood. So Darryl shouldn't mind
be patient.
the fact that he fouled him. As you can see, they greeted each other. He's very aware, but that's because of the fact that they practice together all the time.
Yeah.
So they have that kind of friendship, that kind of relationship. Big brother, younger brother.
It's always good to have that kind of relationship where you've got an older player mentoring a younger player, teaching the tricks.
Yes, indeed. Which was one of the weaknesses in our basketball at some point. The mentorship had kind of disappeared.
Yes.
Which is very, very vital to the growth of any sports. You need mentors. So as Strathmore misses again on this jump shot, and KPA pushes the ball through Joseph Ouma. Joseph Ouma, we cannot state how many turnovers he has in this game today. It is incredible that a guy of this experience, he was MVP at the under-16 camp that we did, a regional camp a couple of years ago when Gary Payton came to Kenya, and he is not playing like that kid that was the MVP.
At all.
And it's quite alarming. The coaches need to really have a one-on-one talk with him, bring him back his confidence. You know, as you can see, KPA still leads 62-33 with 2:36 to go. As Raymond Kimani joined the point with a great nifty pass there to Fidel, who scores that basket to bring the scores to 62-35. I'm wondering when Coach Tony Ucheng is about to make a substitution. I would let Raymond Kimani play the end of this game.
You let him play until the end of the game.
And that's a travel by Martin. He actually traveled in the beginning of that play. He traveled all through the play. The coach puts in 2 guards. He subs Soja, so he puts 2 guards. Okay, that's fine. That substitution is not really a problem, to the displeasure of some of the Strathmore fans. I think Soja's friends were not really happy by that substitution. So Murai comes in as a shooting guard as he launches a 3 and misses. Joseph Ouma in the coast to coast. We know where he's going. Raymond Kimani with a strong foul as he knocks Joseph Ouma out completely.
But I don't understand that play. He's lighter than Raymond Kimani. What business does he have driving straight into him?
His idea was to draw the foul, and which is what he did.
All you need to do is just attack him and do the spin move.
He was
right there, you spin move and you go around and score the basket.
He was on a 1-on-4 meanwhile. So do you think that was advice for him to be going all the way there? Because Raymond didn't even need to foul him if you looked at the replay.
Exactly, that's madness.
Fidel was coming right behind,
yeah.
And that was going to be a block as he knocks down the first free throw, Joseph Ouma. He makes both free throws as KPA leads 64-35 with 1:55 to go in Game 2 of the men's finals. KPA is ahead in this series 1-0. KPA trying to take a 2-0 lead in this series, as Mariah is displeased with the last action. He thinks he was fouled and is complaining to the referees to make the call. What do you think about how our referees handle players talking to them? I know in the NBA there are straight fines whenever you do that. How do you think our referees are handling it?
Well, I think our referees have a problem because I think they have got favorites. So some players, when they talk to them, they'll give a T and eject them. Other players, they'll ignore it or talk to them because they play for certain teams or whatever it is. There's a lot of inconsistency in our refereeing in this country.
Yes, indeed. As you see, Darrow who takes that 3 and he misses again. It's 1:11 to go. The Strathmore bench reaction. These are the kind of moments that really amuse me because scores are 66-35. They're down 31 with 1 minute to go. None of these players need the coach to be ejected because of their noise and not have a coach in Mombasa when they play.
Precisely. I don't get it.
Victor with that pick and roll again. Running it pretty well as a point guard. Controlling the flow of the game. Victor with his man. He's dancing, shaking and baking. Then he turns it over. As Murad gets the ball and puts it up. So Darrell, he jumped way too soon. And that's a blooper. That's a missed dunk. As Martin tries to respond on the other side. And both teams just miss wide open dunks. As the ball is stolen from Ochola by Muraya. Darrell Ramondi gets the ball and goes strong to the basket. And is stolen by Tobias Udumbe. Both teams, to the pleasure of the fans, to the fun of the fans, as Samuel Ochola knocks down a mid-range jump shot. 9 seconds, this game is over. 68-35. As Strathmore tries to make a last basket for the buzzer. 2.6 seconds to go. The ball needs to be inbounded. It's 68-37 right now. The ball needs to be inbounded and touched. And the Strathmore player doing the most unsportsmanlike
It'll end up being so comical.
in the sport. Basketball, we cannot do what he just did. Pascal, that is not the way basketball is played. A team has to be. As you can see, Coach Tony Ochen complaining to the referees, but Coach Bosiri, the referees have anything to do with a 31-point blowout, 68-37 final scores?